So, next, but certainly not least, the 2024 Soup of the Year. This award is presented annually to a leader who has shown tremendous effort and dedication to enriching the lives of students and the community as a whole. MASA received a record number of nominees this year, which speaks volumes to the type and the kind of work that's being done around the state by each and every one of you. This year's winner received 7 separate nominations, inclusive of testimonials from current staff and stakeholders, as well as previous colleagues and educators he has mentored during his career. For those of you who've known Dr. Jeff Collier for a long time, like I have, you know firsthand the many, many reasons that made him a standout from the crowd. Here are a few of the quotes with some of his nominators. He has been a supporter, confidant, friend, resource, and mentor. He leads by example with the service mindset. He recognizes the critical role the local school districts play in overall success of our educational system and goes above and beyond to offer support, guidance, and resources. His leadership has not only elevated Saginaw ISD, but has also had a ripple effect on the entire educational landscape. Having worked with Jeff as both a district leader and now in his current role, I can absolutely say that he is truly a transformational leader. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Jeff Collier. This is it. Come on up, buddy. I did not get to see Jeff on the night that it was presented because we had conflicts, but it is really an honor for me to be able to introduce him to you today. So, 2024, Mr. Collier. Woo.
Wow. It was October 17th when we found out in a surprise presentation at a regularly scheduled school board meeting. And since October 17th, I've been sitting about here thinking about what to say. And if I had 30 minutes and somebody gave me a mic, I was talking to Dr. John Van Wagner earlier. I said, I could fill that no problem. Give me 2 months where I have to synthesize something that hopefully will resonate. Ooh, it's a different challenge. Samuel Clemens, a.k.a. Mark Twain, said, I'm sorry, I would have written a shorter letter if I had more time. And that's what synthesizing thought comes into. Before I get started, I would like to recognize in front of you, my friends, my colleagues, my thought partners, my core champions who are with me today. Want to take a moment to thank and welcome and recognize my wife, Yolanda Collier, a master teacher, Spanish teacher at Midland Public Schools, my dad, Terry Collier, my mom, Linda Collier, my mother-in-law, Maria Elena Torres, my daughter, Gianna, my son, Gabriel, and then the heartbeat of my team back at Saginaw ISD. I have my Deputy Superintendent, Scott Sawyer, Board Vice President, Dr. Catherine Ellison, Board Secretary, Laura Sue Holcomb, my end-all, be-all, who we lock horns on everything because she constantly grounds me, is Chief of Staff Cody Kaczynski, and the ever-present rock in my world, Janet Chesla, my Executive Assistant. So thank you very much for being here and allow me to do what we do. It is my pleasure to speak with you today. I wish to tell you about the 2 most important lunches I've ever had in my career. As educators, we are resilient, persevering, and humble servant leaders. At least I sure hope we are. If not, we got some changes to do. We have designs to disrupt status quo and make a positive difference. And I can remember when I was a new rookie teacher, I couldn't wait to begin. But in 1998, the teaching job market was exactly the opposite of what it is today. It was hard to find a job, especially for a secondary social studies teacher. But in the winter of '98, I had just finished earning my teaching certificate from Saginaw Valley State University, and I was fortunate to land a job at an alternative high school in Bay County to teach math, history, and practical law. So there I was, a 25-year-old, completely broke, newly certified, living in my parents' basement, working on a produce farmer in the summer to make ends meet, first-year teacher starting second semester in alternative high school, looking to make a positive difference. And I was about to experience the first most impactful lunch of my career. It was Monday, January 4th, 1998. My very first day ever as a professionally contracted teacher. I was getting paid for the first time. I was so excited for my first day in my own classroom. I can remember what it was like, our own classroom, how we were going to set it up, what was it going to look like, what kind of vibe did we want to have. I was there, bustling. I was so excited. I arrived early wearing my best clothes, my favorite bright blue tie to make an excellent first impression and really knock the socks off my new colleagues and students we were going to build relationships with. My morning classes went smooth. I felt like I was well received by my students. I knew we were going to make some great relationships. Then when the lunch hour came, I took my homemade brown bag lunch and I went down to the teacher's lounge and walked into a small cramped room with a long table in the center. I'll never forget it. I walked in, smiling, super happy to see everybody. No one even glanced in my direction. There was a seat at the back end of this cramped room, and I shuffled along to the back end and sat down. Nobody said a word. New colleagues, first day, no one said hi, no one asked how I was doing, no one even asked who I was. So I scarfed down my PBJ sandwich and banana that I had packed, decided, okay, maybe tomorrow will be a better day. Left the lunchroom, and I said I can go up and start getting ready for my afternoon classes. Well, as I was coming up to my new classroom on the second floor of the building, leaving that unwelcoming first lunch, I was coming up the stairwell and I heard all of this yelling, commotion, and vulgarity. And I thought, oh my gosh, what's going on? So I rounded the corner of the flight of stairs just in time to see a large pack of students pushing against each other, and then one female student threw her entire Pepsi Big Gulp into the face of another student. It was an explosion of pop, and then all chaos broke out. So, using the experience of my first full morning and my instincts to jump in, I raced up the top of the stairs and ran right in to break up this fight. It was a straight-up mosh pit. As I was attempting to break up the two female combatants, someone kicked me in the back of my knees, and I went down on all fours. Before I knew it, someone else grabbed my bright blue tie and put their knee in my back and started jerking back on me, and they started to choke me out. These kids don't even know who I am. It's my first day. I'm just coming out of the lunchroom. Holy cats. So they're pulling me back by my tie and lifting me up with the leverage of my tie. At the same time, I'm trying to get either some breath into my collar or take my tie off. At the same time, I hear this male voice from down the hallway say, "Hey, what's going on here?" And everyone scatters. It's gone. I'm sitting in the middle of the hallway on all fours, trying to catch my breath, completely humiliated, completely in the dumps. My savior teacher was a guy named Dave. He was a science teacher. I found out later. I hadn't met the staff. He was down on the far end of the hallway. He came over, and as if nothing had happened, this was just a common occurrence. He's like, "Hey, man, you all right?" I'm catching my breath. He says, "You good to go?" The bell rings. Students are scattered. He turns around, starts walking down to his classroom, and he turned around, smiled, and said, "Hey, you got this." I sat there in the hallway by myself. Students were already in the classroom. First day, heading into my my first afternoon, second part of the day, and a million thoughts flooded through my mind about whether or not I had made the right career choice. But I knew what I wanted to do. I believed in who I was. I took a deep breath, brushed myself off, took off my tie, and resiliently walked into my classroom after lunch to persevere and humbly go disrupt the status quo and hopefully make a positive difference. Like all of you, my educational journey has taken me a long way away from my first day and my very first eventful lunch as a professional educator. But that first day also rooted me in the conviction of core educational leadership beliefs in what I wanted to do and who I wanted to become. Over the last 25 years, I've interacted with thousands of lives, transitioned into many roles, and moved to multiple districts. but I have always remained steadfast in my desire to disrupt the status quo and make a positive difference in education. Throughout my administrative career, there have been three core beliefs that have both grounded and motivated my leadership style and helped me become a recognized and distinguished 12-year veteran superintendent. My first core belief is increasing as many positive opportunities and outcomes as possible for kids. I'm pleased to say that last year at Saginaw ISD, we passed an $86.5 million special education millage enhancement. This was the first successful special education millage enhancement in Saginaw County in 48 years, almost a half century. And I love the story of what this is becoming because now we can effectively eliminate any annual billbacks to our 12 local school districts and 5 public school academies, which means that every one of our 26,000 plus students win, increasing opportunities and outcomes. My second core educational leadership belief rests in advancing the positive narrative of education to build vibrant school cultures. Last year, we launched my vision of a communications plan that is massively scaled that I call Our Story. Our Story is a service-marked conceptual framework based in the practice of district-wide collective authorship to positively and equitably enhance organizational culture and proactively advance collective efficacy in school systems. By reimagining the harnessed power of social media within our communication designs, all 750 of our Saginaw ISD employees have the ability to highlight and share their positive daily interactions with students, staff, and community. Having just completed our first pilot year of Our Story, we curated and shared over 2,100 positive stories in our first pilot year last year throughout Saginaw ISD. And we're just getting started. Our Story is not only advancing a positive narrative of education, but is documenting a progressive educational renaissance throughout Saginaw County and the Great Lakes Bay region. My third core educational belief is celebrating and mentoring leadership. In the last 3.5 years, we have fostered and cultivated excellent mentorship and leadership opportunities at Saginaw ISD. My daughter's fond of every day. I love when she says this. She says, "Hey, who wants a fun fact?" Here's a cool fun fact for you. Did you know that in my executive leadership cabinet at Saginaw ISD, I have the 2021 Michigan School Business Official of the Year, my Deputy Superintendent, Mr. Scott Sawyer, in the house right over here. I have the 2022 Michigan Career Technical Education Administrator of the Year, Ms. Jenny Gino. This year, we honored Ms. Erin Sinkowski, who is on my cabinet as Executive Director of Special Education. She's Michigan's Special Education Director of the Year, earning the Beekman Award this year. And now we can add this wonderful acknowledgement for me and my office as the 2024 Michigan Superintendent of the Year. However, with all of these positive indicators that helped me receive this spotlight today in front of you, my thought partners, this is not a me award. This is an us recognition. This is a leadership recognition at its core. This is a mere reflection of the collective work that we all do to advance as many positive opportunities and outcomes for students as possible. I am the 37th recipient of this prestigious award, but I'm the first intermediate school district superintendent to ever be honored. This is a distinction that I am beyond humbled to represent and proud to be the acting precedent to open the door for future consideration of all servant leaders and superintendents moving forward. In reflection, I hope this recognition shines a bright spotlight on a new generation of ISD superintendent leaders who are leveling up, evolving and building organizational cultures focused on systemically raising the tides for all students, regardless of zip codes, in their regional educational communities. Now, this brings me back to my original story and the second most important lunch I've ever had as a professional educator. In truth, we're living it today, right now. This is my second most important lunch. I have the amazing, unbelievable honor and privilege to be able to address an entire room of my colleagues whose resiliency, perseverance, and humility I respect so much. It is a collective privilege we all share to be entrusted to the roles, responsibilities, and titles we have as superintendents and administrators. We have been selected and chosen to carry the tremendous mantle of responsibility for the educational systems of our communities. Sometimes I think we forget that. The hardships, the rigors. We have been chosen to carry the mantle of education in our communities. What an incredibly precious responsibility. We are charged with the potential growth, environment, and learning cultures for our community's most prized possessions. As educational leaders, we exist to lay the foundation and build the framework of positive future for the students of today and the generations of tomorrow. We are community builders. We are not judged by our possessions, but rather by how we gave back and give back every day our time, our talent, and our treasures. We collectively stand on the shoulders of giants, and the styles of our art of leadership have been forged by the experiences and the relationships of the myriad of people who have merged into our stories, both positive and negative. We are the sum collection of each other as we crusade for students. Our relatable story as educators is truly one of resilience, one of perseverance, and one of grounded humility and kindness. As servants, we lead every day, and our legacy is the future generational successes of our students. I am deeply, deeply grounded and humbled to be recognized by the Michigan Association of Schools Administrators, MASA, as the 2024 Michigan Superintendent of the Year. I am deeply honored and grounded and rooted in humility to be able to represent the work that we do every single day. This recognition is a reflective testament of the transformative servant leadership provided by our communities, by all educators. This award indicates a sample representation of the incredible collective efforts of you, the superintendents and thought partners throughout the state of Michigan, who work to equitably advance positive opportunities and outcomes for all students, and stand with me every single day on the front line as we all say, we got this. Thank you to MASA for this honor. Thank you, Dr. Kerr and your team. Thank you to all who have provided support, trust, and belief in my collaborative style of leadership and vision. And now, let's all go and continue to disrupt the status quo, make a positive difference, and enjoy an impactful lunch. Thank you very much.